It's the Black Real Estate Dialogue. Tune in. Tune in. Tune in. Tune in.
Without further ado, I will get started, okay, about raising private capital. So, as an investor, as a realtor and investor, the top three things that I hear all the time when people say that they want to get into real estate, but they haven't, is that they don't know when to start, they don't have the time, or they don't have the money, okay? And a lot of times it's all of that or a combination of two of those. So tonight, what I'm going to do is go over the ways that we can combat all three of those so that you can start your journey in real estate investing. Okay, so a little bit about me. I have been a realtor for 20 years. So February was my anniversary, my 20-year anniversary. I've made almost $2 million in real estate, and it's like crazy when I look at that and go, oh my gosh. So I first got into real estate, I was 22 years old. I bought my first home at 24. I was almost 24. And I brought that subject to, so that with creative financing, no banks involved. And then I moved states and I went through divorce and I had to make money fast to feed my kids. And so I got into lease options and I was able to do that with none of my own money as well. Then I started partnering with other investors to buy properties at foreclosures. And foreclosures right now are starting to rise. So this is another technique that will be something that you want to utilize in the future. And then I've also partnered on my fix and flips. So, and that is kind of the deals that I was talking about with Alex, and that kind of led us to this place where we are now. So private funds works for any type of real estate strategy. So if you're going to BR, if you're going to fix and flip, if you're going to do group homes, if you're doing single family residence, if you're doing multi-family, if you're doing mobile homes, the private funds is so important. It's going to be a vital skill for you to learn how to raise money. Okay, so everyone needs private money. As a newbie, you might be thinking, well, I don't know where to start. I don't have money, but I'm afraid of private money. No one's going to give me their money. But this is something that you really need to get over, and I'm going to help you a little bit on how to do that. But private funds allows you to start right now, today, where you are with the knowledge that you have, okay? And you can use private money for down payments, for renovation costs, for your reserves, because you need reserves if you're going to be in this business, and you can use them for team and support. Okay. As a seasoned investor, having access to private funds allows you to grow faster. So you can take on bigger projects. So you don't have to do one home at a time. Maybe you can do 2 or 3 homes in a neighborhood. Maybe you can buy a portfolio that someone is selling. Maybe you can buy a mobile home park. And you get a better deal when you start doing multiple units at one time. And a better deal means bigger profits, okay? So again, what are we gonna use the funds for? If we were to get them, we're gonna use those funds for things like earnest money deposits, okay? EMD, if you guys don't know what that is. When you write a contract to a seller, you have to have some type of skin in the game, right? So you're giving them money saying that I am a serious buyer, I want your home, and this is what we call consideration. Okay, you can't have a contract without consideration. So a lot of times, if you're a newbie, you're just getting started, then you don't have $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 to put down for earnest money deposit. Private capital can be used for that. Okay, gap funding. So gap funding means that maybe you have a loan, and most investor loans are going to be they're going to require anywhere between 10% down and 25% down. Okay, so if the bank, the hard money lender, whoever is giving you the, let's say 80%, you still got to come up with that 20%. And most lenders will not allow you to get a second mortgage. So you can't have another lien in second place. Well, what we do to fill that gap is called gap funding. Okay, so that's where your private investor is going to come in and they're going to privately give you those funds so that you can close on the property, take ownership, and then later they can record a lien on the property or a memorandum saying that they have interest in the property, or however you want to do it. But for the closing, all the bank cares about is that those funds are there. Okay. Another thing that people don't think about is construction draws. Okay. So the way that a hard money lender works is that they will allow you to finance 80% of the purchase and 100% of the renovation. But that renovation cost actually happens at a draw rate. So let's say if your renovations are $60,000, you might have 2 draws, which means that you have to shell out $30,000 to your contractors for labor and materials, and then you send a request to the bank to reimburse you. While a lot of new investors are not going to have that $30,000 fund just sitting there available, and your contractors, most of them will not wait for that draw. You know, they want to be able to get in and get out. And so you can use your private money funds for that.
Are you looking for a community of like-minded individuals and access to experts in real estate?
Yeah.
Are you interested in real estate but need more support and guidance?
You know who it is?
The Black Real Estate Dialogue presents the Real Estate Investing Community. No matter how much or how little real estate experience you have, we've created a community for you because your perspective is important. All right, tell me, where's the #1 place where you can do Q&A with experienced guest speakers 2 times per month? How about unlimited access to past guest speakers' recordings? What about a private Slack channel to engage in daily discussion with everybody in the community to share resources and support each other? Head on over to blackrealestatedialogue.com. That's blackrealestatedialogue.com. It's the real estate investing community presented by the Black Real Estate Dialogue. Come join us today.
Okay, so another thing that if you are not into fix and flipping, but maybe you're in the short-term rental space or you're in the group home space, well, those things actually require that you furnish your property. So in order to furnish the property, maybe you need money up front for furniture, maybe you need utility deposits, maybe you need a lease deposit, maybe you're doing a long-term lease or, you know, the rental arbitrage method, then those monies can come from capital funds. So there's really a plethora of things that you can do with private money once you know how to get it. Okay, so private money versus the banks and hard money. Okay, so private money, these are the things that you're going to structure, and these are going to be the benefits to you. So your private money is going to come from people that know, like, and trust you already, okay? Because we are not soliciting people for funds, for loans. We're you know, all of that is, yeah, SCC regulated, and so we don't want to mess with that. You are going to talk to people that you have built a relationship with already, or you are building a relationship based on real estate. Okay, so they don't have to be friends and family. They can be people that you just meet, but you still need to have a substantial relationship with them before you go and ask them to become a borrower. Okay, so another benefit is that there are no credit checks. Okay, when you're going through your private money lenders, they're not running your credit. Whether your credit is good, bad, or indifferent, it does not matter to them. What matters to them is the deal. Okay, so it isn't, they're not looking at your debt to income. they're looking at what is your plan? How are you paying me back? That's all that matters to them. So flexible terms, speaking of payments. So the terms are now dictated between the two of you for your mutual benefit, okay, which is why we get to the win-win-win, okay? The situation is that you as the investor are going to win because you have access to these funds. They're going to win because they're making money on their money is making more money for them than it can in the bank or it can in the stock market because it's secured by the real estate, okay? And then the community wins because you have now turned a property that was neglected and dilapidated, you've turned it into something that is now beautified, that now has new owners that are taking care of it, the taxes are being paid, and you know, the community is benefiting from those taxed out dollars, okay? So everybody is going to win in that situation. Okay, so this is my latest deal. I actually am set to close on this deal on Friday. And this is a little 825 square foot home. It was in the last little black pocket of a high value town outside of Clearwater, Florida. Okay, so the purchase price on this property was $197,000. When I bought the home, I figured that the renovation costs were going to be about $45,000. I also figured that the ARV, which is the after repair value on this property, was going to be $340,000. Okay. What happened was the market changed, right? So things happened. We had a buyer, and the buyer was not able to qualify for the loan. Instead of keeping it on the market, I realized I had enough equity in the property, and it made sense because if you can see, it says the estimated rent was $2,300. So that is the Section 8 rent on this property. Okay, it's a 3-bedroom, 1 bath, and Section 8 is paying my mortgage basically, and I have cash flow. The appraisal came in at $360,000. So as you can see, I have about $155,000 in it, closing costs included. And I still have about $100,000 worth of equity. Okay, and I'm cash flowing $310 a month. And I was able to do this. I actually, the 197 came out of my pocket, but the renovation 100% came from investors. Okay, so none of my money. And the reason that I actually closed on this second, there's a house, if you see this tree, diagonally behind this tree is another property, and I bought that property first. And literally within 20 days, not even 20 days, within like 15 days of each other, I was able to buy another property because I used private lending. Okay, and that one, I had an investor for the purchase, which was $212,000, and then I had 2 investors that went in on the renovation cost. Okay, so that deal I had absolutely none of my own cash into. Okay, so again, back to the win-win-win, right? So what did I do? 100% of the repair costs and holding costs came from investors. So that did not have to come out of my pocket. I, as an experienced investor, I negotiated my own terms. So my terms with my investors, because I have different investors, was 9 to 12% with no monthly payments. Okay, you cannot do that with a normal bank. With a hard money bank or your community bank, you're not going to be able to do that with no payment. A lot of times what they'll do is an interest only payment, but that doesn't buy down any of your interest, any of your principal. So at the end, you're still owing 100% of what you borrowed. Okay, so I don't like that. The way that I work is I know that so many different things can happen. I need to reserve my cash for those hiccups. So I don't want to spend money making monthly payments. Okay, so that was just something that I negotiated with my investors. Okay, so the reward was that I was able to do 2 projects. The investors they had their money sitting in the bank making 0.01%. Okay, and with inflation over 9% right now, that means that every day that their money was sitting in the bank, it was actually losing value. They were losing money. They might as well have been just setting it on fire. So now I'm able to come in and give them 9 to 12% interest on their money. And you can do that annually, or you can do that by project. So I have different terms for different investors. Okay, it's all based on what you can negotiate.
Hi everyone, Sam here from the Black Real Estate Dialogue. Make sure to hit that notification bell and that subscribe button, and to visit us at blackrealestatedialogue.com.